So kind of two stories in one. Sammy, my niece, is a teacher. Surprise, surprise. And she's a primary school teacher in Holland. And in Holland, they ran a particular initiative with their pedagogical institutions. Before they started it, each teacher would spend one day a week in the classroom with a real teacher. Then they changed that around to 4 days. So they were just doing 1 day a week at school and 4 days in the classroom. And it was a fundamental shift in, the methodology of how they trained teachers. It was backgrounded by a need that they simply needed more teachers quicker. And this was a way to get them up to speed. They also instigated a feedback process so that every student at the end of every week was obliged to go online and fill in a feedback form on the week that they had observed. And then they looked at the quality of teaching, the supposed or perceived quality of teaching across the board. Surprise, surprise, the quality of teaching rose, shot up, after they did this. Any ideas why?
Because of the feedback.
Because of the feedback, and because of the fact that there was feedback, and that was related to the fact that there was somebody in the room watching them.
Mm.
All teachers hate to be observed, or 9 out of 10 teachers hate to be observed. I'm an observer, because they never get observed. Nobody ever watches what they do. They're always alone in the training room. And so if you send an observer into a training room once, it won't do anything at all. But if there is somebody there observing all the time, then your teaching improves, your training improves instantly. And it doesn't matter who they are, as long as they have to give some kind of feedback at the end. Tech training, take somebody with you. Very simple. Don't do it alone. Training groups of 2. Take somebody from marketing, take somebody from sales. Just get them to give you a couple of bits of feedback at the end, and you can really focus it. You can say, did you like my build-up at the beginning? What do you think of that group work activity? What do you think of that presentation? Could I do anything to improve this? And instant results on team training, or making sure that you're not in the room alone. I know it's very difficult to achieve. We usually end up on our own in the training environment, but the value of that is great. And the next part is related to Corona. Just been through two years or more of crazy online activity. And I've got 2 kids, both teenagers, and they both attended school in the last year or 2 years of the Corona pandemic. And basically their life was a horizontal life. They were in bed, stayed in bed all day, and they were on Microsoft Teams or Zoom. They switched their cameras on, they played games, they did whatever. Did they learn anything? No. Nothing at all. And so, I say to the world here and now, teachers in schools, you failed big time, to make the online learning experience a good, meaningful learning experience. How badly did you fail? Oh my God, you failed so badly. But not all of them failed. A couple of them succeeded. So and we were looking around, people asked us, how do you do it? How do you do webinars? So we were collecting our experience, and then we're going to teachers and we're going to kids, and we're saying, so who were the best teachers? And one of them says, well, I tell you who the worst teacher was. Oh, who was he? Oh, he had a bloody question list at the beginning. He said, right, I've got 20 questions. Are you ready? Jose. Sammy. Oh. Jacqueline. Jacqueline's like, yes, sir. Yeah, well prepared. And then he would change it around. He'd say, right, now I'm going to ask the next question, but I'm not going to tell you who's going to answer it until I've asked it. Here's the question, Bobby. And this is the way that, so I found this teacher. I said, so this is cool. Yeah. The kids hate it, but it really works well. He says, yeah, right. And I said, but that's so much work. He says, well, kind of, you know. Yes, you have to think of a lot of questions, which means you need to go to your materials and create questions out of those materials. And he says, but, you know, students are pretty good at this. He would ask, he would spend the last 10 minutes of every lesson. He would say to the students, time for your revenge. Yeah, write a question about this topic, which is really, really difficult to answer, and I'll give it to the next group. Yeah,
I love that.
so he created a process of question generation, yeah, which meant he always had enough questions. And that was his thing. He didn't do anything else. He became the most hated teacher in the school because everybody was, they were paying attention. Oh yes, cameras on, yeah. He said, put your cameras on, please. Sir, there's a GDPR problem here. Tommy, come and see me after school. No, it's Corona. See you in the park. All right, put my camera on. and the other you know, great thing that we've had is simple breakout rooms. Using breakout rooms in webinars online is a no-brainer. You know, I love that American expression. You don't need a brain to understand that this is good. So you send people away in breakout rooms of 2 or 3 or 4 for either 5 minutes or 10 minutes if you've got a good exercise. If you want to send them away for 15 or 20 minutes, then you need a really good exercise. But the short ones are easy because the conversation begins quickly and you only need 1 or 2 questions for them to get going with it. And you create interaction in a place where there was none beforehand. So these 2 things have come out of the Corona pandemic for us. Yeah, I'm sure there are more. I'm sure there are great innovative ideas out there. But if you're running webinars, breakout rooms, question lists, absolutely.